Coming up on today's show, we're kicking off a new year with another friend of the show, Darryl Gratrix of NexGenSkilledTrades. We're going to talk more about the skilled trades and how you and industry can support this incredible and valuable sector. Hang tight, you won't want to miss this episode. Hey, I'm your friend Kurt Stahle, that plastics guy. Thanks for joining me and welcome to the show. If you're new here, this is where I share my 4 decades of plastics industry experience with you. I'll educate, interview, share case studies, showcase innovative products, and always discuss the topics and trends that affect our industry. Today's podcast is sponsored by Fresh Start Polymer Solutions, manufacturers of Fresh Start purge compounds, which are safe for all types of resins and processing equipment. We offer mechanical and chemical-mechanical hybrid formulations. Fast with no soak time, effective in hot runner systems, nothing buys you more uptime than using Fresh Start to streamline your workflow. Fresh Start products are sold across Canada by Simcoe Plastics Limited, where we truly have a passion for polymers. You can visit us at simcoeplastics.com or contact us at info@simcoeplastics.com. So way back, or at least it feels like a long time ago, it was actually December of 2024, Darryl joined me on the show to talk about his new initiative, and that being to promote the skilled trade sector. It's no secret that we are experiencing a real shortage of tradespeople for a number of reasons that we're going to discuss in detail. Darryl started making posts pertaining to skilled trades on LinkedIn, and they really, really resonated. Clearly, this is a common cause that many in our industry can rally behind. I recently met with Darryl over a coffee, and we discussed what he's up to now, and it made sense to me that he would come back on the show and we could have some further dialogue around the skilled trades. So Darryl, welcome back, and thanks for being a returning guest. Before we get into the meat of the episode, can you give our audience just a really quick recap of your background and how you decided to be really a predominant voice for skilled trades, certainly in Ontario, if not probably across Canada now?
Absolutely, Kurt. And first of all, thanks for having me back on the show. It's good to be back. In terms of deciding to be a prominent voice in the skilled trades, I can honestly say I did not make that decision. It was more like it just sort of happened and fell into place. Mm-hmm. But just to give everyone a quick my background story. I've been in manufacturing for over 27 years, 15 years in the stamping industry, 12 years in the injection molding industry, tool and die maker by trade. So I spent many, many years on the floor working on molds and dies, building, repairing. And then the last 8 or so years of my career was more on the management side, working as a CNC supervisor, then manager, and then tool room manager for about 4 or 5 years, and the last year of my career and as a production manager.
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of my manufacturing background. And then in terms of getting into becoming a skilled trades advocate, as we all get on in our careers, I felt that kind of tug on my heartstrings that I need to start helping train the next generation, pass on some of that knowledge that I'd learned over the years. And then that kind of, evolved into, well, no, not only do I need to do that, I need to help recruit the next generation, because 95% of the population has really no idea what a tool and die maker or mold maker do for a living, or that we even exist. So no wonder there's no kids getting into our trades specifically.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if it's not something that you'd maybe encounter in a household setting, plumber and electrician, et cetera, manufacturing seems to be something that's off of most people's radar. And that's a real shame. And I think we need to change that.
Yeah, that's what we're working on. And yeah, I was talking with someone a while ago and they said, yeah, it's even as simple as, when kids are driving around in the car with their parents, they drive by construction sites and see everyone working. But when they go by a manufacturing facility, all they see is the building.
Yeah.
All our work is inside. So there's nothing for them to see there either. So
Yeah, the work is hidden. That's actually a really good point. Anything in construction, any of the trades, if it's framing or running heavy equipment to put up a steel structure for a manufacturing facility or the like, yeah, you see the
yeah,
equipment, but once the building is built and the walls are up, yeah, you don't get to see a lot. So that's a really good point. Um,
yeah.
so I know you've been super busy throughout 2025 because you post about all the things that you've got going on and the meetings and whatnot. Can you give us a bit of in a nutshell what you did in the last 12 months?
Yeah, yeah. We'll give you the 12 months in about 2 minutes version of the story.
Well, you can
Does
take a
that
bit
sound good?
longer. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah. It was a busy year. The big change that came about in August was I went from working for somebody else to starting out on my own as Next Gen Skilled Trades. And so, as you know, you have been running your own business for quite a while
Hmm.
now. It's a whole different world compared to working for somebody else. So that's been a learning curve on its own.
Yep.
Um, and as that change has evolved, I'm sort of falling into a sales role to pay the bills, and then that is allowing me a flexible schedule
Hmm.
to work on all the skilled trade stuff, trying to attend events during the day and in the evening sometime.
Hmm.
Um, on a positive note, last night I attended an event in Orillia. It was an open house for OEAP for parents and students in Simcoe County, and we were in a venue that sat about 150 people, and when I got there, I was thinking, oh well, hopefully we'll be about half full. Ended up we were standing room only. We had probably close to 200 people there between parents and students, which was awesome to see. So
Great. Great.
yeah, we are. It seems like the word is getting out there that the trades are a first choice option for career for kids,
Hmm.
which is good to see.
No,
Um,
that's great. And certainly if you've got a skilled trade behind you and you're somewhat business savvy, you can have a great existence and scale up a trades business. Maybe in some trades it might be a little bit easier to do it than in others,
yep.
but you can have a great living.
But oh yeah, and that's what we try to emphasize to both parents and students is that there are so many options, and like you say, if in my trade in tool and die to start your own shop, it's be very very expensive. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's hard for everyone to do, but there are other options. There's the route that I took, going supervisor management role.
Hmm.
I've worked with lots of people who went into engineering, designing molds.
Hmm.
Lots of people who go into teaching,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then like I'm doing now, going into sales.
Yep.
So your trade is always the foundation of your career, but
Yes.
once you've got that, there's so many different avenues for people to take.
And it gives you that level of instant credibility. It's kind of tough to
Yeah,
argue with somebody who's coming from a trade. Like
yeah,
when I was in my teens, I worked for my father's injection molding company, and I was there for several years, and then did university and came back and worked a few more years for him. But I learned the business from the ground up, so it gives you some legitimacy and understanding when you decide to pivot or grow in the role that you want to take in that particular vocation. So yeah, I get it.
yeah. Yeah, and I'm finding that even early on, very early on in my sales career, is that when you're discussing, say, selling tooling, and you can have an actual technical conversation with somebody, then that gains you instant credibility, which helps build the relationship quickly, and
Yep.
ideally will end up in more sales.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I alluded just, as we opened the show, that you had done these posts on LinkedIn that really, really gained traction. Now, you shared with me how many people are now following or engaging with those posts. Can you just share with our audience what those numbers are? Because I think they're truly astounding, given how much time you've spent on this.
Yeah, it is, especially coming from someone who is a self-proclaimed introvert, and even 2 years ago, I was more like Mr. Anti-social media than Mr. Social Media. I didn't even have a Facebook account, and now on LinkedIn, yeah, I've got, just last week I passed 12,000 followers, which just blows my mind.
Good for you. That's phenomenal. That's great. Well, I think we talked about this when we met over coffee. I think you put forward not trying to promote yourself, but to promote a message, and you
Yeah,
became the conduit for a really important message. And I think that's one of the reasons why it resonates with people. You're not self-promoting.
yeah, and I think early on, that was one of the things that surprised me once I got on LinkedIn and saw some of the posts, and not a lot of comments about the skilled trades. Was there seemed to be a big hole there. There was a void. There didn't seem to be anyone really pushing the trades and promoting them, and especially for us in the world of molding.
Yeah.
There was more going on with electricians and
Hmm.
plumbers and building, but not a lot going on in the manufacturing world.
Yeah, I mean, Ontario, and I think this is probably indicative of what's going on across Canada, but we're feeling it because we live here. Housing has been obviously a huge issue, and without getting political, but when you have an influx of immigration to your country, you have to have the infrastructure to support that, and we didn't, unfortunately. And we're playing catch up now with housing starts. But these people who want to come here, buy a home, and do something, they have to have, well, they have to have a job. So yeah, manufacturing can't take second fiddle. It's one of many options for people who come here to try and find work. Well, to engage. So we need to have a strong manufacturing base among many bases for people to find work. So just while I'm on that train of thought, well, two avenues. From your experience, what is it like as an employer or working for somebody to try and find good people to take on semi-skilled to skilled jobs? Like, is there anything out there at all?
It's very challenging right now, especially in our world. Mold makers are very, very rare. As you know, when things went south with the economy in around 2008,
Hmm.
2009, a lot of injection molders closed up. The
Yeah.
work went overseas,
Yep.
and we lost so many mold makers just because there weren't any jobs left, and they had to make a career change, and went into things like home renovations,
Yeah.
and we lost them for good. They never came back. um, yeah, it's not unusual to be in a shop and see mold makers still working full time in their late 60s even. So mold makers, it's very, very tough. um, which is why part of the reason why we need to get the word out there to students, let them know that that is an actual career that exists. And even recently, um, I did an 8-week contract in a tool room in the fall, and we were looking for a mold maker and a CNC programmer operator,
Okay.
and had very, very little success in finding good qualified candidates. So yeah, we've got a lot of work to do there to bring
Right.
in good candidates to the trade.
So I've seen, again through LinkedIn and even Facebook posts from the Ontario government, Premier Ford
Yeah.
and whichever ministers are going to be involved in sort of pushing this. You see them talk about skilled trades and getting people involved. That's all well and good. I'm glad that's happening and there's creating visibility. Is the government actually translating the comments, the visibility? Are they translating it into something meaningful and perhaps at a high school level, creating visibility, or post-secondary education, if it's college or whatever? Are we seeing their efforts translate into something that's meaningful for industry?
I guess the big thing that the Ontario government has been doing for the last 6 years or so would be their investment into the Skills Development Fund,
Mm-hmm.
to the tune of, I think it's close to, in total, about $2.5 billion now.
Okay.
And so we are seeing some of that money ending up in high schools. CTMA, the Canadian Tooling Manufacturing Association, they have been donating CNC, manual and CNC equipment to high school shop classes.
Right. Okay.
And I met Robert Cattle a couple of times. He kind of looks after that program, and I can't remember what he said. I want to say it was around 130 different high schools in the province that they put equipment in.
Okay.
To. And I've been in a couple of them, and that's definitely helping, because without them investing in that equipment and getting them into high schools, I think we would have a lot more shop classes that were still sitting empty or being used as storage rooms. So yeah, that's definitely one solid example of the money being put to good use.
Yeah. Good.
I know there's some of the projects that are being worked on are longer term. A recent conversation I had was with someone from an organization called Manufacturing Canada, and their short form is ManuCan. They have a website where they are connecting employers who are looking for skilled people and basically anyone in manufacturing, and then anyone looking for jobs can go to that. It's all in one website.
Okay.
And I think that was put together in an effort to try and centralize that. And that's funded through the SDF as well.
Okay.
Yeah, there's numerous programs going on. The Canadian Association of Mold Makers, they had a program going on where they created a virtual reality experience to take into high schools.
Okay.
So that we could show students, in 15 or 20 minutes, give them a little taste of what it looks like to, run a CNC mill, put a mold together, get it in the injection molding machine, which I think is a great idea. As soon as they see the virtual reality, kids are interested. Whereas I know in the past, I've gone to different open house events and, set up my table with some plastic parts on it, maybe a video running. And, it was less than spectacular in terms of
yeah.
trying to get their attention, which I understand. So yeah, there's definitely some good things coming out of the SDF fund.
Oh, that's great. I remember when you and I chatted the other week, we were sort of reminiscing about high school shop classes. If it was auto or drafting and electrical and electronics. At least that's what my high school had, and they just seemed to go away. And it was probably not that long after we would have graduated, like in that sort of age cohort. I'm just glad to see any of it come back in any form.
Yeah, exactly. And the other sad thing that happened was during that time, new high schools were being built without any shop classes at all.
Right.
And I remember having a conversation. It was at one of my kids' hockey games, and this would have been maybe 12, 15 years ago. Um, it was about a high school that had a shop class,
Mm-hmm.
but because of funding, they had literally put plastic tarps over all the machines and locked the door.
Oh,
And so I've
jeez.
since heard that has been reopened and they're using it again, which is great news.
Good. Good. Yeah, because the other thing that happened, I guess, in our age cohort, uh, there was such a strong push to go to a university for post
Yeah,
secondary, because at the time, you could probably get a job, working for, we'll call it the corporate America sort of situation, and that's all well and good, but those kind of jobs are not really in demand. We being the education system sort of created this oversupply of students aimed at a certain, you know, target in the employment market, and completely fell short on where they're needed now. So
yeah,
it's really something, and I hope people have enough collective memory to not allow this to happen again, where anything to do with trades falls by the wayside.
yeah.
You know,
And go ahead.
was just going to say it's also incumbent on the education system to understand that not every person who goes through high school is going to want to advance academically into something that's at a university level, and then go on for a master's or whatever. It's not the only path. There are a lot of paths, and the trades have to be promoted as a really viable path. And I know you're doing so much good in that, and I'm so glad that you're doing it.
Yeah, thanks for that. And yeah, I was just gonna say, and back in the day when we went to university, the cost was a lot less than it is now.
Yeah. Yep.
You
Yep.
know, you weren't not like today where you've got kids coming out with crazy amounts of debt.
I know.
Which is what it's one thing if you've got a good paying job to go to, then you can pay that off quickly. But if you're coming out with that kind of debt and then there's no jobs, that's not a great start in life.
No, it's not. And to some degree, those higher education institutes have been doing a hell of a good job selling,
Yeah,
their take on it. But yeah, you could graduate with 6 figures of debt, and you land a job at $30 an hour. It's going to take you forever and a day to get that paid off. Whereas I would think with a skilled trade, it's probably, you correct me if I'm wrong, but a
yeah,
shorter, like, are we talking 24 months or 36 months to get accredited in something?
yeah. I would say most apprenticeships are around 4 years, but either way, during that time, you're getting paid, and then you go to school for 3 times for an 8-week period.
Okay.
And I just found out last night that the level one schooling now there's no cost for tuition, and then level two and three it's reasonable. It's $400 for 8 weeks each time,
Okay.
and that is, I guess, there's another example of a good thing the government is doing is that cost is obviously supplemented by them because they
Sure.
know that we need more people in the skilled trades.
Right. Right. Okay. So basically, you go through 36 or 48 months. I think you said four
Yeah.
years. You've got somebody who's working, earning money, paying a very reasonable amount of tuition, government
Yeah.
subsidized, but still reasonable. And they graduate, and they likely have a job to walk into right away.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
good deal.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And there's even now with co-op programs in high school and OEAP, the Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program,
Hmm.
you can actually get signed up as an apprentice while you're in high school, get some of your hours in, and graduate as an apprentice already with some of your hours done, and you can have your ticket by the time you're 21 and you're ready to go.
That is a really good deal. Yeah, and you're in the workforce, you're earning money, and as long as you've got the skill to back it up and you're diligent, I
Yep.
mean,
Yeah.
you've got a great career path ahead of you. That's phenomenal. So going forward for this year, what do you see happening, or what are you working on?
I've got a few different companies that I've partnered with. And as much as I can, I'm trying to keep those related to obviously the trades
Mm-hmm.
and skill development. One of the companies that I'm partnered with is called FN Immersive Innovation, and well, not me personally, but the company creates virtual reality experiences.
Okay.
So we have a few different ones. There's some of it's safety training. There's one called Interview Pro that is for practicing and enhancing your interview skills.
Mm-hmm.
But then, most importantly, we have some welding, we have some CNC mill, forklift operator, and this is all done on virtual reality, which is starting to take off as a legitimate option for training.
Okay, good.
And we're starting to see more and more where, say you go out and spend $500,000 or $1 million on a piece of CNC equipment, you can actually get a digital twin for that machine. So when you're training, instead of throwing people on your piece of equipment that's worth $1 million and
Yeah.
having them figure it out and possibly make a mistake that's going to cost a lot of money, you can put them on the virtual reality for a few days and get them trained there, let them make any mistakes there, and it's a lot less risk.
That's a great idea. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
perfect sense.
Yeah. And then another product I'm excited about is called Rimon Technologies, RIMON. And it is a knowledge capturing software, training software.
Mm-hmm.
The concept is super simple, but I wish I had it when I was working. And how it works is you strap a camera on someone's chest,
Mm-hmm.
and they video a task that they're doing. Say they're doing a PM on a mold,
Yep.
or even something simple like, testing your water pressure with CNC equipment, setting up a job, and you have them narrate the video.
Okay.
And then you put the video into the software, and it automatically creates a step-by-step work instruction for you, which is awesome. And then the person who's being trained, they can watch the video, they've got the work instruction, and then using AI, they can also ask it questions.
Okay. That is
So,
really cool.
yeah, as you know, we talked about with so many people still working in their late 50s, 60s, and they're set to retire. And if they don't have anyone that is being trained to share that knowledge with, when they retire, it's just going to walk out the door and it'll be gone forever. So this is a way for companies to try and capture some of that knowledge and pass on to the next generation.
Earlier in our discussion here, you mentioned the financial crisis, 08, 09, and how many people left our industry. At that time, I was working for the corporate America resin sales company, and I was heavily, heavily involved in automotive. And the number of people who left from the OEM engineering groups and materials management groups and program managers before even getting to the tier one supply, there was a tremendous amount of knowledge that just walked out the door. And, I realized maybe you can't capture every bit of it, but if you could capture half of it, what an advantage you have, versus not having anything on record. So,
yeah. And we know the other thing is, we all know when you are making work instructions and you've got either, in the old days, your paper copy in a binder, and now they're all on a computer.
Yeah.
No, I would say 95% of the time, once those work instructions are made and filed, they're never seen or looked at again.
Yeah, it's sort of an ISO compliance thing, and then that's it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But now they get to live. Yeah, I guess it's,
Yes.
the same idea as using a virtual reality system as a training tool, which makes a tremendous amount of sense. You got something similar there. That's so cool. We're
Yeah.
sort of at the half hour mark, by the way, so I'm going to start wrapping things up a little bit. But before we actually call it quits, is there anything else you'd like to share? Any other points or events coming up that we have to get, call it bums in seats or people to attend that you'd like to share with the audience?
I don't know. In terms of events, there's not a lot coming up. But the one thing is always, if there's anyone listening who's working for a larger corporation out there, or even a smaller sized, if you have tradespeople and you currently don't have apprenticeship in your company, I would strongly urge you to revisit that and start investing in that next generation, because we all know if you wait too long, and you're not going to have anyone left to train those people. And if we want to make Canadian manufacturing, keep it great,
Yes.
then we need the next generation to be trained to keep that going.
Yeah, it's so easy when we think of succession planning to think of, in the C-suite or key managerial roles,
Yeah.
but it's not just limited to that. I mean, skilled trades are skilled for a reason. It takes years to hone your craft, and
Yeah.
you got to think years ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's like we all saw, I think it was in early December, where the CEO of Ford put up the post saying that they needed 5,000, they were short 5,000 service technicians
Yes.
in the States. And I'm like, how that didn't just happen overnight.
No, it did not.
That's very poor planning.
Yeah, you got to wonder where the key indicators were and why no one was paying attention. But
Yeah.
we both are quite familiar with the automotive sector. It's a complex beast, and I appreciate you can only monitor so many things. But at least the top guy at Ford is talking about it, and I wish other CEOs would address it too. But hey, it's happening, so that's good. That's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Darryl, I really am so thankful you came onto the show. I really enjoyed talking to you, in this forum or, in person over a coffee. I think you're doing some great stuff, and I wish you all I'm going to say luck, but you don't need luck. You do a great job. I wish you all the success in this endeavor, and we need more good people like you pulling for this sector. I'm just so pleased and happy with what you do. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and thanks again for having me on, Kurt.
My pleasure. And here we are at the end of another episode. I'd again like to thank Darryl Gratrix for joining me today to talk about the skilled trade sector and how you can learn about it, how you can support it. If you are in a position, if you're a parent, an uncle, or you have kids in high school age and they're wondering what to do with their lives, and you happen to hear this, talk to them about skilled trades. That's an easy way to bring the topic up. And you never know, you could make a positive life change for somebody. So, and it's always a pleasure speaking with Darryl, speaking with somebody in the industry. It's not just about, this topic, it's exchanging war stories and all the other good stuff that happens with an industry colleague. If you have any questions about today's show or a suggestion for an upcoming episode, please message me through That Plastics Guy on LinkedIn or my personal page, Kurt Stahle on LinkedIn. Please consider following That Plastics Guy on YouTube, Simcoe Plastics on Facebook and Instagram, and you can subscribe to our newsletter through the Simcoe Plastics website. We'll have a newsletter for February with some more product spotlights and maybe talking a little bit about our own AI initiative. We've got a lot of work to do on it, but we're working on it. So until then, thanks again for listening. Take care, and let's be good to each other.